or quietly and follow along. At any point, click the pause button to catch up or take a break. Hi, today we're going to be making a mini mushroom house. For this, we need our piece of red paper, turn it so it goes across your tummy, left to right. We call this landscape mode. You're going to want to use a pencil for this part, but I'm using pen so you can see my lines clearly in the video. For the top of our mushroom, we're going to start at the side here and move left to right. You can do kind of a curvy bottom, up, around, and just like that. Now, this is not perfect by any means, but mushrooms grow all different ways, so don't worry if it's not exactly the way you want. That's why I use pencil, you can fix it. Then you can cut it out. So my pencil lines, or in this case my pen lines, are not showing. I'm going to flip it over so they're at the back. Next we're going to grab our tan piece of paper, and once again it's going to go landscape mode. For this we're going to start at the top a little bit in, and we're going to do a nice curve down. Same with the other side, a little bit in and a curve down. This is going to be our base. Now you can adjust your base if you want it wider or skinnier. Now remember, we are going to be adding windows and doors to make this mushroom a house, so you want to leave space for that. You may cut out on those lines and put your scraps aside. Okay. Once again, I flip it over so my pen lines are to the back. Okay. Now, next what we're going to do is we're going to do the under part of our mushroom. That shows the underside, and for that we're just using basic white paper. Okay, you can use any kind of scrap paper for this. I'm going to cut this so it's not as big. And for this part, what we're going to do is we're going to flip your mushroom over so we can see our pencil lines. And it's going to go right along the bottom. So line up your paper so your white is underneath your red, and you're going to trace along your red paper. That's going to be where it lines up then. And then underneath is where we can draw the bottom of your mushroom. Now, I kind of keep my lines parallel. That means it runs about the same, but you could do it any way you want, really. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to cut on this side of your parallel lines. Now I have my line showing and my line showing, so I'm going to flip them over both. And then that way, your mushroom bottom has a place for the glue to go. That is why we did that. Do you see how that lines up then? Okay, so then what you can do is you may glue on the bottom of your mushroom. Now I'm just apply glue just a little bit along that top there. And kind of layer it like this. There we go. Okay. I think I am going to adjust my mushroom head and kind of come along the side here with my scissors. There we go. Now that I'm kind of getting it more formed, I can see the way I want it. There we go. Okay, you can bring over your mushroom base and we can glue that together. So I'm going to apply glue once again towards the top. And I'm just going to lay my white part of my mushroom, my underside, right in the center. Great. Next, we need to add some details. I'm going to go now with a door. Every house needs a door. So here is my paper. I'm going to cut it in half. Okay. One is going to be for my door. The other is going to be for my window. And we'll adjust these as we go. So for my door, this is a little hard to see, so I'm going to use Sharpie. I'm going to come up from the bottom, curve, come back down. It's like a big upside down U. I'm going to cut it out. Okay. Once again, I'm going to flip it over so my pencil lines are to the back, making my work nice and neat. Let's glue on our door since we have it done right away. Now you can have your door at the bottom. You can have it up a little more so it has like a step. That's what I'm going to be doing, but you can start to create your house however way you want. That's the fun part about this assignment and project. Here's my glue. I'm going to put mine a little off to the side. Now you can put your door more in the center, or you could put it on the other side, whatever you want. I'm just giving you ideas for the window next. And we'll add the door details a little later. Here is my window. Now, this obviously is too big. So I'm gonna kind of gauge, I want my window on this half, right about there. And so I need to cut off my paper right about here. This is just one way you can design a window so it has trim. Now I feel like my window is too big and too tall, so I'm gonna make it a little more narrow. There we go. This is the outer trim of my window, make it look a little fancy for my mushroom people. Okay, I'm gonna come back to my white piece of scrap paper, and I'm just going to cut a smaller white square for the center. And for this, I just cut a basic white shape. And here I can see if it's too big or too wide. I'm gonna take it down a little bit. And now I'm going to go across. There we go. That is my window. I'm going to now glue my window on, starting with my back trim. That is my brown paper. Place my window where I want. And now my white piece of paper. And I'm going to put that in the center, right about there. Once again, we'll come back to the window details in a little bit. Let's continue on with layering up our collage. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to cut small circles in a variety of sizes, and you can lay them accordingly on your mushroom top. I have pre-cut some circles, and my circles do not have to be perfect. I think it's kind of cool if they're not. So I'll just get my glue stick. I'm going to glue them on kind of in random places on my mushroom top. And I'm going to give you some tips before I speed the video ahead. You can have some mushroom circles kind of off of the top. And then what I do is flip it over, and I can see where that extra white paper is hanging off. And then it actually looks like it's coming over the top of my mushroom. Okay, so I'm going to speed up the video. I'll glue on my spots and see you back here in a little bit. Okay, now we're back for the details of our mushroom house. For this, I'm going to be using a Sharpie marker, but you can use a black marker, you can use crayons, whatever you prefer as the artist. And we're going to make some of these details pop. I'm going to start with my crayons because I like to add shadow with crayons. I'm going to use a red crayon, and I'm going to just color around the sides of my mushroom, maybe a little bit inside. This makes our mushroom appear more 3D when we do this because we're adding shadows and different tints of our red paper and shades, making it have darker and lighter areas. So with my red crayon, I go back and forth more along this bottom than the top, and I kind of gradually fade the pressure and the color off of my crayon so the color gets a little lighter. Okay, there's the red crayon. I'm going to do a little bit more fading off the top here. Okay, next what we're gonna do is I love to use my white crayon. Now mushroom tops kind of can be a little shiny or damp, so I'm gonna just use my white crayon to add some highlights. Okay, next I'm going to use like this darker blue right here versus my teal, and I'm going to just kind of lightly color along the bottom side of our mushroom. All right. Let's start with a black marker now. So what I like to do is I like to trace around all my objects. This gives it kind of a fun and whimsical feel. You don't have to do this, but to me it makes my collage items simply pop off one another. So I'm tracing around all my edges. Oops. And here for my inner window, I'm first going to draw a box on this side and a box on this side. If yours is not perfect, don't worry. Then we're going to draw 2 inside lines and 2 lines going the opposite way. There we go. And then what I do is I just take my marker and I just drag it up and down, make this look like a wood texture. Okay. And then let's go to the door. I'm going to trace around the outside of that. I'm going to add a doorknob on this side, just a basic round circle, and I'm going to add door hinges. And once again, I make this look more like wood by dragging my marker and having some areas that it lifts up and down. Okay. To make this look more like real wood, wood has different tones to it. I take my brown crayon and I follow my lines, giving it some darker areas and some lighter areas. Same with my window, that's also going to be made of wood. Okay. And bring back that white crayon because that just always makes a nice pop. I'm going to give my doorknob a little shine and just throw in some streaks to lighter tones of the wood as well. Okay. Next what we're going to do is I have like a teal crayon, but you can use any color, and I'm going to color in some of my windows. That will make the white trim really pop. All right, coming back to my marker, I'm going to then go underneath my mushroom and around all my spots. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to then take my marker and I'm going to draw some lines. These are going to go towards the outside on an angle. And as we get towards the center of our mushroom house, they're going to go straight up. Now I'm kind of alternating different size lines. I have some longer, some shorter. Okay. These are showing the texture underneath your mushroom house. And underneath here, it's going to curve then, kind of tilt more to the left. So we're kind of going out that way. Okay, now the final details are really, really up to you. I'm going to draw my steps. So I draw a line coming out, and then I have lines going back and forth this way. And then I like to add a little bundle of flowers over on this side. So I start with some grass. And then I just like to add some flowers. Makes it feel a little bit more homey. Here's for the color. I use a black crayon and I just go over nice and lightly to make it gray. And then you can even use that if you want your wood a little darker, or underneath your mushroom for some shadowing. Some of these darker areas towards the bottom, around the edge. With my green crayon, I color in my grass and a little bit on the stems of the flowers. Then I use my white crayon in the center and my yellow for the outside. Okay. Now I can go back and add further details. I want this a little darker up here. There we go. And lastly, I just kind of take my brown crayon and I can do a little bit more shadowing if you choose. You could add chimneys, you could add, oh my gosh, so many different things. That is our mushroom house.